People who say life is overwhelming usually mean they don't know what they're willing to sacrifice. And if you don't fix that, life just keeps getting harder. Think about it. Most people think they have more problems than there are stars in the sky. I know because that was me. I needed to start earning money, improving my grades, making friends, look good, attract a girl, learn time management, quit addictions, and the list goes on and on. You probably feel the same. And so I want to share a mindset that literally stopped making life feel overwhelming forever. By the end of this video, you'll have the exact mindset I used that removed 90% of my problems. But first, let me explain the foundation of this mindset. See, I found a way to eliminate life's problems like a game, and it might just make you question everything you thought you knew. So there I was playing Breath of the Wild. As I explored the shores of Hyrule, I stumbled across this massive encampment of enemies. I ran in, trying to kill them all, but I died. Over and over again. I probably should have given up, but I was just too stubborn. That was when I had an idea. I ran up, getting the enemy's attention, and then quickly bolted away. This led to just a couple of enemies chasing me. Well, I couldn't handle like 10 different enemies at once, I could handle 1 or 2. And so I repeated that process over and over again until all the enemies were defeated. It's the same in life. If you fight all of your problems at once, you will lose. You have to choose one problem and temporarily sacrifice the other problems. You have to single out one problem. Think of it of like fighting in a corridor. The battle changes from 1v100 to 1v1 100 times. But how do you know which one to fight first? Should you get better relationships, focus on making more money, try to get into shape, or quit your addictions? Well, to figure out which is the first problem to slay, I like to use this one mindset. Part 1. Target your weakness. I want you to think of every problem or goal you have in life. Now imagine each one is a link on a chain. Not everyone has the same links on that chain. Yours might include family, fitness, and money, while someone else's might have studies, friends, and addictions. For each one, give it a score out of 10, like a game stat. For example, fitness could be 7 out of 10 because you run and work out, but friends might be a 4 out of 10 because you don't have a close friend. The lowest score is your weakest link, and that's where you should focus. Imagine if right now I picked up your chain and yanked it. Chains always break at the weakest link, so your lowest score is the one that snaps the chain, or in your case, snaps your life. That sounded really dark, but you get the point. It doesn't matter how fit, rich, or disciplined you are if you can't even talk to strangers and make meaningful friendships with other people. It's the same in games. It doesn't matter if your attack stat is maxed out if you always die in one hit. So just choose the weakest one and focus on it. For everything else, just ensure you maintain and don't lose points in them. If I hadn't focused on my weakest link, I would have tackled the wrong problems, which would have led to me never starting this channel. So seriously, this is actually really important. But hang on. I said I had literally 100 problems in life. Like, imagine a chain with 100 links. That's just too many to tackle. That's why you can't just fight your problems. You need to assassinate them. Part 2. Assassinate your enemies. So how do you do that? Well, by simply deciding it no longer deserves mental energy. For example, a younger version of me was heavily concerned with how people perceived me. That was one of the many monsters I was facing. But instead of spending all my time worrying or people-pleasing others around me, I simply assassinated the problem. I labeled the problem as not a problem, which is honestly something so many people forget they can do. They see every little hardship as an issue in life, but in reality, most problems don't matter. After all, we suffer more in our minds than we ever do in reality. Like just before leaving Japan, I messed up saying thank you for my food. I said a word that wasn't in the Japanese or English dictionary. I was so embarrassed at first that I spent the next 10 minutes stressing over the fact that one cashier lady thought I couldn't speak basic Japanese. I felt like a complete idiot. But in reality, it doesn't matter. I will never see that lady again. It does not affect my life in any way. Now, obviously, bigger issues in life just can't be ignored or walked away from. You can't not pay rent by telling yourself that rent isn't due this week, the rent isn't due this week, the rent isn't due this week. But still, I think most problems in our lives are only problems because we perceive them as such. It's like the saying of death by 100 cuts. It's not that one single issue or problem is significantly causing problems in your life. The issue is that there's so many problems weighing you down. You don't end up dying from a single attack, but from thousands of smaller attacks. That's why you need to reframe the problems that aren't actually problems as just things. You know, there's this quote I really like. You can have anything you want in life, but you can't have everything. Meaning you could probably, I don't know, be an astronaut and go to Mars, but you can't also be the world's fastest runner, and run a business, and rule a country, and be a school teacher. You can only do so many things in your life. In the same way, you can't solve every little problem and setback. So instead of fighting problems, you need to just leave them alone. You have to pick your battles. It's kind of like how in Breath of the Wild, to fight Ganon, you have to get through the ruins of Hyrule Castle. You don't want to fight every single enemy at the castle because you need to save your strength for the upcoming fight. If you fought every single enemy and then took on Ganon, you would probably just end up dying. Even if you didn't, it would still take you 10 times longer. So it's far better to just go straight to Ganon. You have to choose which problems are worth solving because at the end of the day, you only have so much time, energy, and resources. That all being said, there's a tactic that probably dates back to the cavemen that could literally halve your amount of problems in life. It's low-key OP. Part 3. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Another great mindset is killing multiple problems with a single move. For example, back in my early high school years, I wasn't doing well mentally. I remember just not wanting to go to school and wishing I could stay in my room forever. I was constantly trapped in my own head, too busy thinking about my problems instead of actually trying to solve them. But then I started running. Not only did that improve my mental health, but it also fixed my problem of being physically weaker and less endurant. My body and my mind became stronger. Of course, once I started running with other people, it was like killing 3 birds with 1 stone, because I got the additional benefit of socializing with people. Again, it's like exploring Hyrule Castle. You can fight every single enemy in the castle, or you could go straight to Ganon and end everything at once. Killing Ganon is like killing thousands of birds with 1 stone, because when you kill the boss, all of the monsters despawn. I mean, probably. I don't know that much about Zelda lore. Anyway, so try to find solutions to problems that lead to taking out multiple enemies at once. A good old AoE attack, if you will. Honestly, the difference in my life before and after applying these mindsets is phenomenal. I remember every time I got home from school, I used to feel so overwhelmed. With exams, navigating relationships, figuring out what to do with my life, and just feeling behind. I used to sit down on my bed and stare at the wall, thinking about all of my issues. Then 2 minutes later, I would just try and scroll them away. I would never actually sleep at night because all I could think about was all of my problems. I would literally just sit there until 3 AM, which honestly just made everything even worse. But now, of course, that's changed. I no longer feel constantly overwhelmed and I sleep just fine at night. If you don't actually change anything about your life, then you won't see that same change. So right now, go make that chain. Give it about 5 to 7 links and give them all a score out of 10. Start with improving the lowest link for the first few months or even year. Then move on to the next one. Just like this helped me, I hope it also creates a change in your life and allows you to slay your problems. Talking about slaying things, right now I'm running a life gamification event. Everyone in my free community is teaming up to defeat a boss. You damage the boss by making progress towards your goals. So if you want to literally feel like you're slaying your problems, then click the first link at the top of the description to join my free community. We recently just hit 1,000 members in the community. So if you want to meet some like-minded people, why not join? Keep your sword sharp. Bye bye.